It's time for the Rip City Wrap-Up. The Rip City Wrap-Up is brought to you by Dick Hanna Subaru, Believe in Nice, and Jack in the Box. Now here are your hosts, Joe Simons and Danny Marang.
Kevin Durant does Kevin Durant things. The Blazers fall in Houston, 140 to 116. But it's a cup night, so we're going to have fun here on the Rip City Wrap-Up. Hello, I'm Joe.
Oh, this one.
That's Dan. How are you? Let us know. Chime in. Use the hashtag RCWrapUp.
70, the amount of points they lost by.
Oh no. That tweet wouldn't make it on television, but maybe yours will. Put it up there. Use that hashtag. We're going to talk about Yong Hansen, not now, but later.
Oh, we're going to work that in?
We're gonna work that in.
Okay.
Let us know what you think about Yong. But why don't we start with the matter at hand? It was a really strong start for Portland, and then it immediately got out of hand. Portland had a few runs to get back in it here or there, but it was a sloppy effort, and really, for the first time all season, a laugher going the other way.
I mean, just a laugher in general. I think that's what we saw.
That's fair.
There hasn't really been a laugher. It's game 4 of a 5-game trip. They basically played every other night for the past 2 weeks. They're shorthanded. You can see it kind of popping up in the sense of their inability to force turnovers, their inability to play with pace. You look at statistically tonight, I mean, even Denny, after starting, 0 of 5, 1 of 6 from the field, they shoot 47% as a team, 36% from 3. Left a lot of free throws wanting, to say the least. That seems to be a trend. But when you have 20 turnovers and your opponent has 6,
it's a problem.
Good luck. Good luck. The Thunder got 106 shots up to Portland's 89.
The Rockets.
I said, God, this is the second time I've said Thunder.
You got Thunder on the brain, bro.
Yeah, well, it's good teams.
They're
just
good.
Thunder. The Rockets are the second best team in the West. They are what they are. Kevin Durant.
Wait a minute. I got to just immediately ahead of Denver, even considering the season that Jokic is having. Valanciunas coming in.
Don't care.
Gordon looks good.
Nope.
Not even.
Nope.
Second best team in the West.
No. Houston's the second best team in the West. Their depth, their length, their versatility, the way they can play, they can slow you down, put you in a meat grinder, beat you up. I mean, they've got Alperen Sengun, Steven Adams, and Clint Capella. Who has a bigger, tougher front line than that in the NBA? Nobody. And then they can throw out Jabari Smith Jr., then they can throw out Kevin Durant, then they can throw out Tari Eason, they can throw out Asar Thompson. They are just big, long, and athletic. And that's what you saw them do tonight. They used their length, they used their athleticism. They murdered Portland in the fast break. They forced turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over themselves. They shot the ball incredibly well.
That's the thing. When this team shoots threes well, how do you beat them?
You don't. They're the number 1 3-point shooting team on percentage. Coming into the night, they were shooting 43% as a team.
That's psychotic.
Yeah, and the thing about them is, I was looking, just doing a little research ahead of this game, and I was like, where do the Rockets rank? You know, as far as like some of the advanced analytics stuff, and you take a look at what they do and how they do it. Their shooting frequency coming into tonight, they were 8th in rim percentage. So their top 10 is a rim as a shot volume. So they're a top 10 team at getting to and taking shots at the rim.
So their percentage of shots at the rim.
35% of their shots come at the rim.
Okay.
They are dead last in the 3-point volume. Less than a third of their shots, 29.6%. So they take the least amount, but they have the highest percentage.
So they're very economical about it.
Yes. They are also number 3 in the NBA in mid-range attempts. So their mid-range volume.
How much does KD play into that?
That's a huge factor. But also, Asar Thompson doesn't take and make threes. So he's a rim guy or a mid-range guy. That's kind of where they eat. And you just kind of look at the rest of that team. There's a lot of mid-range guys in this team. Jabari Smith Jr. is another guy that likes to get to the mid-range. Tari Eason will pull up. But they are a pull-up team. But if you look at their accuracy, they're 11th at the rim, just under 70% at the rim. So they're just outside the top 10. They are number 1 in corner threes, number 2 and above the break threes as far as percentage. They're shooting 48% from the corners.
Wow.
Corner three is the best shot in the NBA as far as efficiency because it's the shortest shot with the highest outcome, 3 points. So, and those shots are generated shots. You don't ever see a guy, dribble to the corner and take a corner three.
Sure.
That's not a thing that happens. So they're very, very, very good at generating and converting that shot. So the shots that they get from the corner, they capitalize on better than anybody. The flip side is everyone but Kevin Durant is not shooting well from the mid-range. So even though they're third overall in mid-range volume, they're 28th in conversion rate, under 40%. So, but they're so good from 3, and Kevin Durant is so good in the mid-range that it goes, That's why when they traded for Kevin Durant, and we all talk about them being a Kevin Durant away from being this, that's why. Because they have all the other things around them. You saw how good he was from the field. He had probably a dozen plays that had me hooting and hollering in the studio. Just like, it was. Like,
You almost had me snot when you hooting and
Hooting
hollering
and
back
hollering.
there.
Well, I want to say something else, but it's TV. I can't say it. But there was a couple times, and this isn't like an anti-Shaedon thing. I said this going into this game. Amen Thompson is the best athlete in the NBA. He put Shaedon Sharpe on skates in a blender, crossed him over, just destroyed him 3 different times, and I was like, don't see that happen to Shaedon too
That's
often.
true, but I don't know if this is the night in a night of Blazers perhaps not having it from
Well,
a...
it has nothing to do with him not having it.
Right, but
It was just
I
that's
think
what
there's,
Amen does.
I understand. It's more of a compliment to Amen than it is
Yeah.
a dig at Shea. But I do think Shea, especially in that first half, if I can poke and prod and find positives, Shea was all over the place in that first half. And it wasn't
His
even just
activity was
scoring.
great.
But yes, it was his activity, getting to defensive rebounds, setting up other players. Like, I thought he played very, very well, even after picking up 2 fouls in the first 70 seconds of the game. He was still incredibly active and not just scoring.
Thiago trusted him too.
He see but it's really nice to see Shaedon excel in doing something other than scoring. Because the last 2 nights, with the exception of today, he had 19, so not a terrible
Yeah, I
game.
know.
But he had 30-point-plus games the last 2 prior to this. So to see him almost get to 20, and it was inconsequential by the time that he was approaching that point.
Yes.
But when the game was still in doubt in that first half, he was really, really effective. And then he has this, which is a dunk score. And I asked Danny before the show if Danny would break down what a dunk score is, so he could explain it to me and the fans. And he goes, "No,
No, I'm not going to do this because it's a stupid subjective number that has to do with vertical quality of defender, how far away they take off from. It's like, is a dunk dope? Cool. Like, we all agree that his dunk on Champagny last year was the dunk of the year. Like, it was absolutely bonkers against the Wizards. That was the full-on cockback where Champagny just went, oh no. What I loved about this dunk tonight, we'll get like the one highlight out of the way. Jrue Holiday, I can't remember who he crossed over, but he broke somebody off, and he had a wide open layup, and Jrue was like, nope, I'm going to choose violence. And he just dumps it off to Shea, who was flying in either for a putback or because he knew Jrue was going to choose violence, and Shea took the opportunity. Like, that's what I want to see from Shaedon Sharpe. I want to see him as a cutter. I want to see him going to the rim. I want to see him being aggressive because nobody's jumping with this. And if you are, you're dumb. Period, point blank. Why would you jump here? This is the epitome of don't jump.
I do like that Shea, even the Blazers are down 18 at that point.
Get a little flex.
You have to. That's a no-context dunk.
No.
Matter when that happens, you have to do something.
I tweeted out during the game, and somebody was like, why is he doing that down 18? 'Cause I'm like, it's a dope dunk. That's why.
Yeah.
You
very cool.
You body somebody at the rim like that.
That's right.
I don't care.
That's right.
I just don't care. It is what it is. But this is one of those games where Denny starts off pretty poorly. He's 0-5 to start. If you told me that Denny started off 0-5 and finished the way he did, 22, 10, and 4, I'm like, okay, but then you see the ugliness. 7 turnovers. Him and 2 alone combined for 11 turnovers.
And a lot of them looked unforced, Danny.
Yes.
That was the thing, was when you see Denny get downhill and perhaps it's a little bit out of control, but he's doing that 1 out of every 2 possessions, you can kind of live with it. It's putting pressure on the defense. It opens everything else up.
Yep.
There's a reasoning to it.
But when you
tonight,
lose it before you get downhill, yeah.
There's not a cohesiveness tonight, and it just seemed to kind of snowball. When there was one of these bad possessions, there'd be another bad possession, and it just sort of fed upon itself. And Portland had an impossible time getting back in the game once that third quarter started. I mean, 30 seconds into the third quarter, this game was over.
It was over because they did the work in the second quarter to get it close.
That's
and then
right.
the first and second quarters, they closed abysmally. They closed both those quarters awfully, and what could have been 2-possession games weren't. And it was like,
yes, the first quarter, a little caveat with that, because I would say probably a minute 20 of the last 130 was really, really bad in the first quarter. And then Jrue picks Kevin Durant's pocket and scores on the other end.
and
to
Katie
turn
wanted that back so bad.
It turned like a 14-point game into a 9-point game, and then it kind of rolled into the second quarter a little bit with Jrue continuing to have control of the game. And it got to a point where Portland took the lead, and it felt like it was under control. And then again, Houston had another run, and then it was
That
just
was it.
too much.
But the turnovers, you asked me, is there any data out there? You caveat it with, I said last show that I don't want to talk about advanced analytics, and you're like, can you dive into this for me? So I did. And through Genius IQ, which used to be Spectrum, the tracking data, I can go through and grab turnovers, and I can kind of slice it up however you want. And so instead of just steals or turnovers like a 3-second violation offensive foul, I can separate it out basically for whatever I want. The Blazers, when you factor in lost ball, like dribble it off your knee kind of a deal, or bad pass turnovers, are 11th of the league at, 140.
11th most.
11th most. No, the Wizards are number 1 at 174, followed by the Magic, Jazz, Mavs, Warriors, Suns, Grizzlies, Cavs, Lakers, and Heat.
You don't want to be on that list.
If you can be on this list if your assist rate and your conversion rates are higher. And I think through probably the first 6-7 games of the season before guys got hurt and they were playing with that pace and that requisite intensity, they were turning teams over left, right, and center, you can get away with that because you're generating so many more possessions. This road trip, I'm going to keep hammering this without hitting the table because I know the YouTube people hate it. The loss of Blake Wesley and Matisse Thybulle is being exaggerated every single game. Every single game, you're noticing it more and more and more. Tonight, they just did not turn the Rockets over. The Rockets had 6 turnovers. The Blazers only had 4 steals.
The Rockets looked cozy all night.
Yeah.
They never looked uncomfortable. And even when they had to work for a shot, they got to a point where they had a high percentage look, even if they weren't making them. And they were making a lot of them. They scored 140 points tonight. But it's interesting you mention Blake and Tease because this road trip has really timed out with exacerbating that happening, right? Not having the horses in play to continue to do that. Because you're right. When you commit it 20 times, that's okay if you're doing that if you're turning the other team over 25 times, which is what Portland was doing. They've been committing turnovers all season, haven't they? It's just that with Blake and Tease, they're able to balance the scales of justice a little bit.
They've been middle of the pack in turnovers. They haven't been egregious on most nights. But this road trip, and you're seeing it because it's game 4 of a 5-game trip.
Right. And
they're shorthanded. And you can see the pace and style. It is different. And this was a question I had for Tiago before they went on the road trip. It was like, can you continue to do this? And he's like, I'm going to continue to play my guys the way that I play my guys. We're not going to stop playing this style. I don't think it's them stopping their play style. I think they're just tired. At the beginning of the season is this for a lot of teams. In general, there's a lot of players in the NBA. I shouldn't say a lot. There are players in the NBA that are notorious slow starters because they kind of work themselves into shape during the season. There are guys that are very fast starters and tend to taper down the end of the season because they're kind of burned out. And I think the Blazers have a lot of guys in Tease, Tumani, Blake, who they just come out going because that's kind of who they are. Where you look at a guy like Jrue, he's one of the most steady guys in the league, but he's older. And how much longer can he keep that going for? How many minutes can he play? But on the flip side of that is, Jrue, I tweeted this out during the game. Jrue plays at his pace, at his tempo, no matter what. You don't speed him up. You don't slow him down. His ability to control, like you mentioned the steal that Jrue had on Kevin Durant. Jrue flew out of there with the ball.
Yeah.
You don't see him do that very often. He knows when to pick and choose. And it was super funny during that steal. You also saw Kevin Durant take off like I haven't seen him run in a long time because he did not like the fact that Jrue Holiday
annoyed. And for Drew's credit, he scored with 0.1 second left in the quarter, and that, I think, annoyed KD even more because Reed Shepherd inbounded to KD, and KD just kind of like slapped the ball away because he was so annoyed with the situation. But Jrue Holiday, I tweeted out something, kind of dumb, but it made sense to me at the time.
I saw it. I mostly agree.
Right. So I said Denny is the MVP, but Jrue is the most important trailblazer right now.
He's the steadying force. He's the catalyst. And because if they don't have Jrue, and this is not a shot at Scoot Henderson, Scoot's probably biggest weakness is Drew's biggest strength. Jrue has seen everything.
Mr. Intangible?
He is all of the intangibles. And not only that, his basketball IQ is through the roof. There's nothing you can throw at Jrue Holiday that he hasn't seen. His ability to process, that's what has made Jrue special his entire career. This isn't because he's old and because he's seen it all. Go back to the playoffs between the Blazers and the Pelicans.
Yeah, that dumb tweet.
There you go. The most invaluable player award. Wow.
All right, Neon Greyjoy, congratulations.
You made it on.
That's it.
But remember the Pelicans-Blazers series where the Blazers, I remember we did our show at, was it the Baghdad? And they were down, 36 at the half, I think. They booed us.
They booed you and Shane. They didn't
Yes.
boo me.
Well, that's right.
Because Shane got on stage and he said, "Boy, the Blazers suck, don't they?"
Yeah,
And everyone's like, "No, boo! Get off the
Well,
stage."
It was a very bad game.
But
who was the guy stirring that drink?
yeah, it was Jrue.
Holiday.
100%.
So this is not something new.
No.
Drew's been doing this for a very
Drew's
long
been in our
time.
orbit for a long time.
It's not. He's just super smart, and I'll keep making this comparison for Blazers fans. He is what Andre Miller was offensively. Jrue is that defensively, while having probably 80% of that offensively. Andre Miller could slow a game down offensively, and there's nothing you could do about it. Jrue plays at his pace, at his tempo, very well, better than most guys. Andre Miller was the GOAT of like, I don't care. I'm playing at this pace. There's nothing you can do about it.
But you're getting this leadership from Jrue. You're getting the defense, but he's also putting in 18 a game, and he's 5th in the league in assists per game right now.
18, 9, and 4.
That's an incredible line for a guy who's known for his defense. And you're getting that from him. And this was, I'm not going to go so far as to say it was a question mark. A lot was made about Jrue coming to Portland and will he like it here and whatever. But this is what you get when you have a professional basketball player on your team who has seen it all. He's going to come here. He's going to provide tutelage. He's going to provide stability on both sides of the court. And he has been a big reason why the Blazers have had a nice start to the season. Like, yeah, this is a terrible result, but like I was saying in the back room, the Blazers are now 2-1 against the 3 best teams in the NBA.
And they're 6-6. Look, I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm just saying I picked this team to win 40 games. They're on pace for this.
God help us.
You want them to win 41 or 39.
I just
so
somehow.
bad.
How do we avoid 40 wins?
How do we avoid 40? But I think this is kind of going into this because you always have to factor injuries for somebody. And I kind of looked at it like, okay, Rob's a guy that's been injury prone. Drew's a guy who's been injury prone. Scoot's a guy who's been injury prone. Shaedon's been a guy who's been injury prone. And not in the sense of like detrimental, but like
They'll miss 5 or 6 games here.
You're just gonna get little chunks here or there, and that's just what's gonna happen. And we knew with Scoot, he was gonna miss probably the first 2 months, and then some. So it was one of those things of like, if they were fully healthy for 82 games, I'd probably bump up to 44, 45, but that's just not the reality in the NBA. And so you look at where their depth would be tested. Would it be at the big spot? Probably, because you're hoping to get 65 games out of your starting big in the NBA, unless you've got Jokic, who's just a Terminator, who just doesn't miss games, who's just out there and he's the hub of everything you do. You just really can't, especially for a guy like Donovan who's so big. If you're getting 65 to 70 games out of that, you're perfectly fine with that. So you just kind of look at the roster and you go, okay, if you're now, did I think Tease and Blake were going to have this kind of impact? No, absolutely not. But now looking at it, you just kind of go, those guys are super important to what they want to do, and I almost want to give them more credit than they've already gotten. It's just it's a weird spot for them. But
do you mean the Blazers, or do you mean Tease and Blake specifically?
Tease and Blake specifically, like how valuable they are to the style that they want to play.
It is clear because tonight is a perfect example. If you could have thrown Blake and Tease into that game in the second quarter,
get some disruptions, slow them down,
disruptions in there in the third quarter, or when Portland is trying to mount a run in the third or the fourth quarter, like you have those guys taking those high leverage plays, getting a steal, getting a block, getting a quick bucket the other way. Like we've seen that. I mean, we came on the show the first week and a half of the season, and I think 2 or 3 times we were like, Blake Wesley was the difference in the game tonight. And maybe the first time we were being a little tongue in cheek, but it got real serious after that. And Blake has been an incredibly impactful player, and you do see it every night. And like they were able to outlast New Orleans, but otherwise, it's been a tough road trip. And fortunately, you're going to Dallas, a place you should also win.
But it's also game 5 of a road trip, and everybody's probably looking about getting home.
Precisely.
So there's a part of that. But when we were coming into this game, there's a couple of things we talked about with Houston. 1, Kevin Durant. 2, their shooting efficiency, knocking down threes. 3, just how big they are. And 4, how good of a rebounding team they are. They had 20 offensive rebounds, and thank God for Portland, they couldn't convert that many of them. Because the Rockets beat them up on fast break points 23-9. Portland beat up Houston 33-21 on second chance points.
Okay.
If Houston was able to convert those offensive rebounds, this game is sideways.
I'm doing it again, Marang, and I'm on this watch now because Donovan Clingan had 6 offensive rebounds tonight, and he was 0 of 3 from 3. I understand the thought behind it, but there's a difference between plan and execution. The plan, I understand. The execution has been really poor, and you are neutralizing the best thing that this guy does. Like, he's the best offensive rebounder in the league. So is this, I mean, you said just a few minutes ago, Tiago is steadfast in the way we're going to play basketball. I assume that includes Clingan and having him take a handful of these shots if they're open per game. And to Donovan's credit, he looks comfortable.
He needs to keep shooting them until he proves he absolutely unequivocally can't.
It doesn't look like the shot is bad. It doesn't look rushed. It doesn't look uncomfortable. They're just not going in. So I'm not saying it's a bad shot, but at a certain point, I think he's 2 of his last 27 from 3. It's tough.
It's rough. But the flip side of this is if you're going to play fast, there's going to be a lot of possessions where Donovan is not the first, second, third, or even fourth guy down the court.
Sure.
He's going to be your last guy. He's going to be your trail man. And what happens is, coming into last game, the Blazers had the fastest shot time in the NBA. And what I mean by shot time is either via steal, rebound, or inbound. The time that they take possession to the amount of time it takes from that point until they shoot, they are the fastest. That is a style. They are 100% trying to play. We talked about the 7 seconds or less Suns. The Blazers are getting a shot up a little over 10 seconds on average.
Wow.
So we talk about the 7 seconds or less Suns. If you take that pace of that 7 seconds or less Suns, it would be the slowest team in the NBA this year. That's how
We've come a long way, baby.
That's how different the NBA is now.
That's crazy.
It's so much faster. And you're asking a very large man to expend a lot of energy getting up and down the floor. And he has got to pick and choose those moments. And that's going to be a learning process for him and for the team, when they can run, how they can run, how hard he can run. And I don't think it's ever going to be a thing where if they're playing at this pace that he's going to play 30 minutes a night. I think that's genuinely a reality. He could be in the best shape he is ever capable of being in. I don't think he's going to play 30 minutes a night if they're going to play at this pace. It's just not something you're going to ask of anybody. Jokic, as good a shape as he is not playing at this pace.
No.
They're just not going to do that. Jokic is a guy that he will be the guy that ignites the break, throws the 70-foot dime. But when they get in a half court, what happens? Jokic gets to the elbow or gets above the three-point line and facilitates from there. And it's a little more methodical. It's a little slower. They run inverted pick and rolls, or he is much more stationary and able to work in those kind of games. He is able to rest even on offense sometimes, just because. Is it hard to manipulate those kind of things? Yeah, but it's not. It's a different kind of expenditure of energy. And so Donovan's going to have to work through those things. And one of the ways he works through those things is taking and making those threes. Could it be a situation where, like you said, the shot looks fine? Could his legs not be underneath him? That could be a thing that he's dealing with. He's huffing and puffing down the floor. He's in much better shape than he's been in as a Blazer. There's no doubt about that. You can see it in how he looks.
100%. It's not just how he looks, Dan, but he looks more comfortable offensively down low. Like, he is getting to balls and winning balls that he had no chance at
last year.
I mean, he's doing that at least once or twice per game, so you can really see the growth from that perspective. And what you're saying makes sense, especially if you're trying to conserve some of the energy, that he's going to kind of hang out at the elbow. Maybe he takes an open shot, maybe he doesn't. It just seems like there's a missed opportunity for an offensive rebound. But if you are playing at that pace, maybe there isn't.
That's the thing is he just has to find that and
the sweet spot.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of times I think a lot of fans aren't willing to work through. It's you need to do this. It's like no, the guy's in his second year. It's okay to let it.
Let it breathe, people.
I think because they started so fast and so well, a lot of people were like, oh, this is a top 5, top 6 seed team.
Right.
I don't think that's the case. I said I think the best that they could possibly hope for this year is 7th in the West. And that's if everything kind of goes their way. I think they're more of an 8-9 team. Like, I don't think they're the last
but
team
even that, compared to what they were predicted to be going into the season.
10th, 11th.
And that's a huge jump in the West.
It is, because when it's all said and done, I think the margins in the West, it will be probably 5 or 6 games that separates the 6th seed from the 11th seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's basically what we had last season.
It'll be injuries. It'll be a team going, oh, we're beat up bad. Like, we're just going to pivot into the skid. Like, what do the Utah Jazz do with Walker Kessler gone for the season?
Yeah.
Like, we already expected them to be bad, but the Pelicans, we expected them to be bad, and they have all of these injuries already. What other team is like, LeBron James is going to be 41 years old next month. He's dealing with sciatica. That is not a young man injury.
Sorry, Vigil. Do we have the bottom of the West? Can we pull that up real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. But if you take a look at it right now, like Memphis, everybody thought Memphis was going to be a lot better, and now they've got a Ja Morant problem, and you're going
a big Ja Morant
problem.
problem.
What's going on?
But also
here?
the Clippers. they were the hype team of the summer, and that looks like a dumpster fire. Not just the off-the-court stuff, but you mix that in with how bad things look on the court
Kawhi in
right
and
now.
out, Bradley
Chris
Beal gone
Paul,
for the
healthy
season.
scratches. Like, it's really bad down there.
It's absolutely. Look at it. I mean, Sacramento, we knew was going to be bad, but this bad? I don't know. Phoenix somehow is better than everybody expected because Devin Booker just on a legendary
Not
heater.
pictured New Orleans. We don't need to.
And then
worry about
Dallas.
them.
You know, I thought Dallas would be right there with Portland. There was a lot of people that wrote. I think one of the ESPN lead writers picked Dallas to make the playoffs, not even the play-in.
But it is interesting because if you look at the teams below Portland right now, like you have those four and there's a spot to give. Like, which one of those teams would you say is more likely to get their stuff together to actually challenge for that 10 seed?
Clippers.
They're the logical pick.
Because of the talent.
But my point is, Dan, other than that,
Yeah. Like, I don't.
Look, we're 12 games into an 82-game season.
But do you trust
There's
John Morant?
Oh, my God, no.
Okay, do you trust the Dallas Mavericks sans a point guard?
I don't know. I haven't watched them play basketball enough, and they have Cooper Flag, so maybe they figure it out. I don't know.
Even then, like, there's been some quote-unquote disappointment around Cooper. And it's kind of funny. If you look at his numbers and compare them to rookie LeBron James, they're, like, right on par. It's like, yeah, he's 18. He'll be 9. It's so funny.
But we are more insane as a society now than we were 20 years
100%.
ago. We're a lot crazier.
Cooper Flag will be 19 in December.
Yeah.
He is a baby. He is supposed to be in college right now with Cam Boozer, who went for 35, 15, 5, and 5 tonight for Duke. Just absolutely bonkers. This draft class is loaded, which is why you're going to see a team like Sacramento, who is having a fire sale.
Tank it.
Well, they have flat out said, Sabonis, Levine, DeMar DeRozan, offer up, guys.
I hope Russ just averages like Oscar Robertson numbers playing for like a 15-win team. That is his final form, isn't it? That's really fun.
He joined LeBron James tonight as the only player in NBA history to have 25,000 points and 10,000 assists. So there's that.
Congrats to Russ. Hey, we've been talking about a lot of bigs.
We have.
Haven't we? Blazer fans, sometimes you just got to go big.
How big?
I'm talking the triple bonus jack combo, 3 juicy beef patties, 3 slices of melty American cheese. Don't show him shredded lettuce, pickles, and Jack's secret sauce on a toasty bun, plus fries and a drink. You can order it right now
Doesn't like my character.
on the Jack in the Box app. 3 times the beef, 3 times the flavor, 3 times the meringue.
Another great night for Rip City.
Absolutely.
Definitely not.
Absolutely. And you know who's all about people? Just like this team, Dick Hanna Subaru.
Right, from your very first visit to your first drive, they're focused on making a difference for you and for our community.
And Dan, that's why they say, believe in nice.
Dick Hanna Subaru. It's not just about cars, it's about people.
Time for a deep dive into a shallow topic. Very shallow tonight. It's Trendy.
Oh, so shallow.
Hey, look at the logo.
Hey!
We did it.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard and also the most honest thing I've ever heard.
All right, so when you're being interviewed for a job, do you say, I want to be president of the United States? That's what LaMelo Ball did when he was going through the draft interview process with the front office in Minnesota. No word what he told the organization in Charlotte.
So what's funny about this, in this same draft, you know, you get, or I'm sorry, not in the same draft. Yeah, this was the same draft. Wiseman, Anthony Edwards went 1. Never mind.
Yep.
Year before, excuse me, it was Wiseman. But Wiseman goes to the Warriors because he goes out to dinner with Joe Lacob and he can speak Mandarin. And it's like,
That's a neat party trick.
cool, dog. How does that translate to the basketball court?
I mean, if you're trying to impress a rich San Francisco bro, that's the way to do it.
You're probably not wrong. But also, I don't want this to sound political because it's not, but if you're telling me you want to run for president of the United States, I'm going to think that you're the most narcissistic human on the face of the planet, and I want nothing to do with you. And the Minnesota Timberwolves said, nope. And I have absolutely no problem with them doing it.
One, I'm not surprised that Ball made this statement. And 2, I think it's fine. I have absolutely no problem with it.
If I was running
it
a
shows the
team-
supreme confidence in yourself.
Too much.
And to
much.
your point, to run for president of the United States does require a narcissism that only the people who run for president can have. And again, it's not political. That's anybody who runs for president.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on.
You have to think that I can rule the world.
Yes.
That's literally your thought when you wake up every day.
And that's not who I want on my basketball team.
That's not who you want leading your basketball team?
Nope. Hard pass, dog. Hard pass.
I have no problem with it.
I
Good
don't
luck
want
to
Hector
everybody.
Camacho. What was his character in Idiocracy?
I don't know that movie very well.
Oh yeah, but that's basically what I picture with LaMelo Ball. It's what plants crave. That's all I got, man. It's got electrolytes.
Hey, there are some Portland Trailblazers that are not playing in Portland tonight.
No.
That's right. Our boy Yong Hansen has been reassigned to the Rip City Remix. He is currently
got
playing.
Some actual run.
Are we final?
Do we go final?
We might have gone final
in Tempe
against the Valley Suns. This is what you come here for in the Rip City wrap-up.
Great looking court.
Oh, the remix. Come back and win 107-104.
I'd love me some G League action.
Erasing a huge deficit. They're now 3-0. Your boy Yong Hansen. Here's the line.
Hit me.
Okay. Don't know how many minutes he played. That's not available on the G League stats. We do know he had 8 points.
Okay.
He went 4 of 11.
Okay.
0 of 2 from deep, so he's comfortable chucking.
Getting him up.
Love to see that. 13 boards, 5 of them offensive, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers and 3 fouls.
So 8, 13, 4, 1, and 1?
Yeah. How about that?
Depending on the minutes, fine. Look, for everybody wondering, the Portland Trailblazers and talking to the front office at Young's introductory press conference and kind of like after the draft process, they're very honest about what their expectations were for Hansen. Number one, it was culture. It was getting him involved and getting him to be a part of the organization, getting him familiar with the country. This is a guy who is working on his English still, and he calls it his Chinglish because he's blending his Chinese and English, Mandarin. And it's about being comfortable here. He's here with his translator, Chris. His family is not here. He does not know anybody here. He just got his driver's license. He's driving his BMW SUV. He is just, the first year was about acclimation. And they were, when I asked him, hey, do you see yourself or see the Blazers putting him down with the remix to get run? And even before he stepped on the court for the Blazers, they told me yes. Like, it all depends on, like, how healthy is Rob.
I was going to say, if Rob was healthy to start the year, it's a different equation.
Yeah, it's like, how healthy is Rob? How good do we look?
Yeah.
Are we comfortable with Donovan, Rob, and Wap? And does Hansen come out, gangbusters? If he does, great. If not, we're going to get him run down there and get him acclimated to the speed of the game. Because here's the thing. If you think the Blazers play fast, watch a G League game. It is nuts how fast they play.
Lightning?
It is not a big man league. It is a guard league, and they fly up and down the court. I mean, you will regularly see games with like 115, 120 possessions. It's just the pace at which they play, because you've got guys that are hungry to get in the NBA, and typically you want to try to get a few vets on your G League team, and the Blazers do. The Remix, they brought back Alex Reese, who was with the team previously, had a stint with Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a guy who's a floor spacer, which is very nice for Yong, because now you're playing some 5-out and you've got some more space to operate if you do want to post him up. You have that push, but Javonte Green is down there. I'm trying to remember who else they had on the roster tonight that was with the Remix that I totally blanking. But it was a bunch of guys that have been around and kind of understand
Blake
it.
Hinson, Dylan Jones.
Thank you. Dylan Jones, who they just acquired, Weber State guy who was just, he's a weird player. He's like a 6'4" Boris Diaw. He's a playmaking guy who plays with the ball in his hands a lot. You can toggle him mostly on ball. The problem with him, the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's where he was last year, he's not great without the ball. But with the ball, he's this hybrid-y guard forward with playmaking, rebounding, and creation chops. And so they're surrounding Yong with some guys that make some sense. You've got multiple guys who can kind of dribble, pass, shoot, and create for others. And so you're playing this 5-out, high-speed pace that you're going to get Hansen used to playing faster, because that's not something he's accustomed to. That he's been very honest in his setbacks or the things he needs to learn. I remember after his first practice, his first media availability, he said, too fast. It's too fast for me. And most players won't say that. They'll say, there's some things I need to work. He's bluntly honest with his assessment. Maybe not too honest, but maybe beats himself up a little too much about stuff. But that's something clearly he needs to work on, is how fast he processes, particularly on the defensive end.
But you can understand Blazer fans and sort of the path they've taken to get here where they are mentally, right? They saw Yong Hansen. They're like, oh, the Blazers found a thing that other teams didn't. Like, we gamed the
Chinese
system.
Jokic.
We found the guy. And then we saw some fun things in summer league and preseason.
preseason, yeah.
There's signs of life here.
Yeah.
And then he starts off, and it doesn't look good immediately. And Rob comes back, and he's sort of relegated to not playing anymore. And then it comes to, okay, should the Blazers have gotten a player who's more ready to play right now because this team is better than we thought? And while I understand that thought process, I do think you got to pull back a little bit and say, okay, let's play this out. Let's say the Blazers didn't draft Yong Hansen.
Let's say they took Cedric Howard, the guy that they
exactly because that's the guy everyone's been pointing to as well. So let's say he's on the team.
Yep.
That takes you from what to what exactly?
Well, first of all, how does Cedric Howard get on the floor?
Great question.
You've got Toumani Camara, you've got Denny Avdia, you've got Jeremy Grant, you've got Chris Murray, and so he's in that 10, 11, 12 range, unless he goes out there. And I know some people are like, oh, he'd play over Chris. Would he? That's the thing is you don't know. Unless you have
the thing Chris does keeps him on the floor.
It's his defense, and he doesn't make mistakes. And is Cedric a better offensive prospect or player? Yeah, probably. That's fine. And we won't know what the difference is between Coward and Hansen for 3-4 years before you get any true idea of it. And I'm not defending the pick. This is a conversation I've had with a lot of front office executives, not just the Blazers.
Okay.
Just a theory situation. I was talking to somebody who's running a team now. He was an AGM a few years ago, and we were at the Nike Hoop Summit. And I go, if you were to take this guy on your team, even though you think he's better, why would you take him over this guy who's maybe 2% not as good, but you have a clear path to get him on the floor? He goes, that's one of the biggest things that we talk about, is you have to have a path for a guy to get on the court. The Blazers drafted a guy, I won't say how long ago, but they ended up taking him after a guy that they wanted was there. And there was a few Blazers fans that were like, I really wish they would have got both of them. And I talked to the Blazers front office about that, and they flat out said it was a if, not an and, because you have to have a path to get a guy on the floor.
Sure.
And so with Cedric Howard, Cedric Howard has looked good in spurts, but he's been on the shelf for the last couple games for the Grizzlies. I think he's due to come back next week, or he came back tonight. I can't remember now. I haven't watched a lot of Grizzlies because not fun. But that's part of this that factors into it. Unless a talent is so overwhelming, which does happen from time to time. You get a guy and you're like, Toumani. Toumani was a guy, 52nd overall pick, who it was just like, oh, this is a guy. And if you go back 12, 13 years, it's Nick Batum.
Sure.
Nick Batum had one of the worst summer leagues of any player in the history of the NBA. There was a thought that he may go back overseas because it was so bad. Opening night, he starts. Sometimes you just don't know with those kind of things, but those opportunities have to be there to kind of have those things figured out. And you definitely can't make the evaluation in the first month of the season.
That's the point. Shy of VJ Edgecombe and the scoring that he brought.
And he's tanked.
Exactly. Like, I know that was probably the image that Blazer fans had in their head of, like, if we had someone like that in that finite period of time, that makes the big jump. I just think we need to be cautious about having any sort of referendum on a player who we've seen play 20 minutes in the NBA and knowing that the top of the organization thinks he's a project. The head coach publicly calls him a project.
Yes.
Like, everyone thinks if you're going down to the G League, it's because you have work to do. And Portland is fortunately in a position where they're still a pretty good basketball team.
They have no illusions of grandeur.
That's the thing. And that's the thesis of this whole discussion is the Blazers aren't winning the title this season.
No.
They're not winning a title next season. But the timeline, when you start to look a little bit farther down the future of Shea getting older, Denny getting older, Donovan, like the timelines, you're trying to have them all coincide to go and find
Different
this window.
slots, yeah.
Right. And
Which OKC did, and they were sped up drastically by SGA.
And then they have another. Whose draft pick do they have this year? Everybody's again?
Yeah, they've got a pick right now that is, I think, 9th.
Yeah.
It's
So
like-
they're going to win 75 games, and they're just going to keep getting better. But Portland has to find a way to continue to progress. And I think last season put them ahead of schedule. And because of that, the expectations are now inflated. And we talked a lot about this at the end of last season. If Portland had a 27-win season last year, and they were in the lottery for really a strong chance at Cooper Flag, getting one of those top 5
Cooper, Dylan,
opportunities.
Ace, whatever.
Precisely.
It is, VJ. Yeah.
You're going home with a pretty bride. You know, you're going home with someone who you really can say, all right, this is another guy that we have now. then the conversation is different. But we're at a point where Portland made a run at the 10th seed last season, and they've had a better start than I think most people would have expected this year. The Thunder have one loss. It's to your Blazers. They beat Denver. They beat the Lakers, albeit without Luka. They still beat them. Like, they have really quality wins. And so...
And getting smacked around by this Rockets team is like, as a team with
Join the
Blazers
club.
are, this is what they've been doing. They have the second highest point differential in the NBA right now behind the Thunder.
Right. So Portland is on a timeline where I think a good barometer for this season is make the play-in. If you're one of the top 10 teams in the Western Conference, you probably have a really solid year. Then maybe next year it's win a playoff series. And then year after that...
Or at least be competitive in a playoff series.
That's right.
Make the actual playoffs.
Well, this is how the NBA works. It's
the
playoffs.
The Thunder broke the system.
Sure.
They didn't do the thing where you have to earn your stripes.
The playoffs are so long in the NBA. You have to win so many games that you rarely see a team do something like that and make a run completely out of nowhere if you're a young team that hasn't done it before. It just doesn't work that way. So I think the pick is interesting, and if you can have Donovan and Yong, that being your center over the course of an NBA game, you have someone that big.
You get 24 minutes apiece out of those guys.
It's pretty good.
Who play two very different styles, but are both massive humans. You can be big whenever you want. Like, the Rockets are really one of the only teams in the NBA outside of the Clippers with Brook Lopez and Ivica Zubac who can go, here's two just demonstrably huge defensive dudes. Deal with it for 45 minutes a night.
And look at how much Valanciunas, I mentioned earlier in the show, Valanciunas being on that team for Denver has helped so much just because they are
well,
getting,
the bar for a backup center in Denver is
of
behind
course.
the table.
I mean, you weren't getting demolished with Jokic off the floor.
Which was always their issue. When he was, again, when your entire offense is him, but also you don't have anybody else. And when I mean, they were throwing out the corpse of DeAndre Jordan for years.
Sure.
It's just, it was not tenable.
But if Portland can get to that point, especially with a guy like Donovan, who we know at best is probably going to give us, 28 minutes a game playing at this pace. But if he's grabbing 8 offensive rebounds and throwing in 10 points, and then you have Yong come in, who's a more advanced version of what he is now, then you're starting to look like you have the center position kind of solved. And Portland's in a really good position now where Rob can step in, where Wob can come in, or you can throw a small ball lineup so you can kind of throw a knuckle as opposed to where you can throw a knuckle when Donovan's not in the game and kind of get along without it. And the team's in a pretty solid spot, even with Yong having time to develop.
Or you get a best case scenario and you get Jokic and Nurkic, like the Nuggets had. Look, before Nurk broke his leg.
Oh man,
we were doing the show elsewhere.
You get
then.
3 Dr. Peppers in me.
I mean,
if Nurk didn't break his leg, we're having a parade down NATO.
That was a really good team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it was a game or 2 games before that, he had a monster. It was like a 22, 18, and 5 or 6 game.
And he had a 5x5 game
against
that
Sacramento.
Season.
It was a monster night. Like him and Dame were one of the best pick and roll combos in the NBA.
He was the second best Blazer in the team that year. He was better than CJ that season.
Yes, and that's the Nuggets had Jokic and Nurk. Now, their careers obviously went very differently,
right?
Especially after Nurk got hurt. But Nurk at his peak was a really good big. And the Nuggets had both of them. And Nurk was the guy that was drafted in front of him. Jokic, remember, hilariously, drafted during a Quesarito commercial. Like, he was an afterthought. Like, everybody wants to talk about, well, the Nuggets are so smart. They could have taken him 30 picks earlier, damn near.
Yeah, where did Giannis get picked?
Giannis was 13.
Yeah. Are 12 GMs idiots? No, it's like sometimes there's a
so
guess
much
to
luck
this.
goes into
Of
this
course.
stuff, man. And that's the thing. We were talking about that on the radio the other day. The one thing I think sports fans in general are really hesitant to do is to give any credence to luck. If the Clippers knew, if the Thunder knew, SGA is not a Thunder member.
Yeah.
Like he's not on that team. It doesn't happen, but that's the luck of the draw. And again, SGA wasn't a top 2, 3, 4, 5 pick. He's 11th.
Unlucky for Seattle, they could have a team right now that would be building a dynasty just up I-5.
And I know we opened the show with a tweet. Kevin Durant scored 20 for his 30th consecutive game against the Blazers. And when the Blazers drafted Greg Oden, they flat out said, we know Kevin Durant is going to win scoring titles. We know. But we think Greg is going to be this otherworldly transcendent big, which when he was on the floor, he was. But that's the luck of the draw. And there was you should have taken Durant. There's not a GM in the league that takes KD over Greg.
I can hear my dad yelling at the TV right now. I said Durant over Odin at the time. He did. Dad, you got that one right.
Good job. Good job, Dad.
Nice work. Okay. Danny, you like cheeseburgers?
I do.
Do you like cars?
All those things.
Oh, Danny, you can feel the energy after that game. This city really cares.
They do. Same goes for Dick Hanna Subaru. They care about people and the community, not just cars.
Exactly. From that first visit to your first drive, they're there every step of the way.
Dick Hanna Subaru making a difference and proving they believe in nice.
Ooh, you know that buzzer beater feeling?
Not tonight.
No, you sure don't tonight. That's what the new classic Smash Jack is. It's a juicy smash patty. Melty American cheese, the
No
best
sleeves.
cheese for a burger.
That's not.
It is.
Jack.
They said it in that movie, The Menu. Lettuce, grilled onions, pickles, and Jack's boss sauce, all stacked on a soft brioche bun for the ultimate MVP meal. It's rated the best burger in all of fast food. Oh my. And you can order it now on the Jack in the Box app. Grab one and go big. Okay. It's time for a deep dive into a shallow topic. We're going to do it again. Trenvier, we go to Disney World. We're going to Orlando, site of the very average Orlando Magic. We love game ops, don't we, Dan?
We do, and we're lucky here in Portland. We have the best game ops guy in the world, Todd Bosman. Shout out to Todd.
Blazer Todd, the king. We're doing the kiss cam here. All the young lovers in Orlando. Just having a great time. And
look
then,
at this.
oh no, there he is. Sad Brooklyn fan.
Well, I mean,
1-13, I believe now.
they are really bad. Them and the
No good.
Wizards. It is.
I just love that idea of just, all right, we found the loser for the kiss cam. We've got him locked and loaded. Let's find the people kissing, and we're going to go to him. Okay, Danny's already looking at the standings again. Go ahead.
The bottom of the East. The Nets, Pacers, and Wizards are all 1-11.
Let's go.
The race.
The Pacers are 1-11.
Yeah, the race.
Therese Halliburton isn't that good.
Well, you know what? I want to take a second here.
Go ahead.
Kevin Pritchard, the general manager.
Speak your mind for once on the show, Dan.
I know, but Kevin Pritchard, the general manager of the Indiana Pacers. Caitlin Cooper, great writer for the Indiana Pacers. If you want to know anything about Pacers basketball, if you just want to get smarter about basketball, go follow Caitlin Cooper on any social media platform. Go subscribe to her Patreon. She is phenomenal.
Independent, or she worked for a
She's
paper?
independent.
Okay.
She is one of the
Love
best
that.
technical basketball writers in the world. She is phenomenal.
What's the name again?
It is
Collins.
Basketball She Wrote.
Okay, basketball, sure. Okay, great rec.
She's phenomenal. She's one of the people that I will go to when I have questions about things. She's just absolutely brilliant. But she was talking about how the Pacers were struggling, and Nembhard's really struggling. Tyrese Halliburton's out. They've just had some injuries and no Miles Turner. It's just not going well. But everybody kind of knew that. But it's worse than that. A Pacers fan replied with, should I be worried about Rick Carlisle? Like, should he get some grace for how good he's been and all these things? Kevin Pritchard on Twitter hopped in and replied, and I'm summarizing here. He said something along, Rick is a better human than he is coach, and he's a great coach. I'm fully confident that when we get healthy and we get things around, I have full confidence in him. For a general manager to go on social media and do that, that's unheard of, and that was amazingly cool to see.
Do you think we have way too quick of a trigger finger with coaches
Yes,
in general?
unbelievably.
Do you think this permeates throughout sports?
Yes.
Or just the NBA?
No, I think it gets, honestly, I think it gets worse in college football. Like college football.
In terms of the trigger finger?
how fast you get,
Yeah.
are things
Well,
going sideways at Penn State? Yes, but
I
James
know.
Franklin is a good coach.
Right.
Like, how many programs in the country have a better coach than James Franklin right now? 10?
That's
12?
always the thing that I don't understand about getting rid of coaches so quickly is, do you have a better coach waiting in the wings?
You better have something lined
Because
up.
if not,
That is an adage that I believe in. If you are firing a coach, no matter what sport you're in,
that's right.
you better already have the next coach lined up or a pretty good idea. Because look, I've said many times, we've had this debate, not even debate, I think you're mostly with me on this. In the NBA, if you're talking across major sports, football, NFL, coaching matters the most. And it's not close. After that, I would argue it's baseball. After that, I would argue hockey. I would put NBA dead last of the big four. I think coaching in the NBA at the very highest levels matters more, but over the course of an 82-game season, I believe it's less about X's and O's and more about buy-in, trust, opportunity. There's so many things that happen in an NBA season, whether it be injuries, rotations, personal life stuff for players that just cause so many ebbs and flows. but the game is so fluid. Your impact game to game isn't nearly as big as it is across other sports. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but the idea that we need to get rid of, now there's some egregious coaching. That does happen. Adrian Griffin with the Milwaukee Bucks, we all know how bad and toxic that was. Basically, anybody that's coached for LeBron James that he did not hand select has never gone well.
Well, in the NBA, it's also there's just fewer guys on a basketball team than there is a football team.
And how much more
It's
control
personality-driven.
players have.
Right.
But not only just their personality, their playing style. If you don't have horses,
That's
it
right.
does not matter. Phil Jackson did not do anything with the New York Knicks.
Well, to bring it back to tonight, we saw one of the best coaches in the NBA, Ime Udoka.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is universally thought of as one of those guys.
Him and Spo are the two best coaches in basketball. If you want to throw Ty Lue in there, that's fine too. Like those three. And Ty Lue is probably the best adjustments guy in the entire NBA. And what are the Clippers right now?
They bad.
If you don't have the horses, it does not matter.
Well, it's such an interesting conversation with the NBA specifically because you look at a team like the Knicks, for example, who are predicted to be the best team in the Eastern Conference, and they fire Tibbs. And Tibbs is a particular brand of guy, and you bring in Mike Brown, who's like
The antithesis of Tibbs.
but also just like a very above average NBA
Yes.
coach, like a very solid
Title winning coach.
Totally, very solid, steady presence. But it seems like you have to make moves sometimes, especially in
Stagnancy.
a situation like that. Right.
Yeah.
Where it's not necessarily that he's doing anything wrong, but if you don't fulfill the serious expectation, then it's just sort of the thing hanging over you, right? Like that could be an issue as well. Like if they went into the season with Tibbs and it's like, well, NBA Finals or this guy loses his job, there's a cloud hanging over your whole season.
Which is kind of an insane thing. If you've already made that decision in your mind, fire him.
Right.
If you've already made that decision, if you have a bar that if you don't do this, I'm going to fire you, you've already made the decision.
Right.
Which is kind of funny because the Denver Nuggets were this close to firing Michael Malone the year they won the title. This close.
He's still sitting out there.
Yeah, well, he's working in a booth. He's plenty happy right now. He's getting paid.
They have a pretty sexy buyout.
I mean, he had years left, so, you know.
That's the good stuff. Well, speaking of people getting fired, the Blazers' next opponent is the Mavericks of Dallas. Early start on Sunday,
Love that.
4:30
Is that a matinee, Joe?
p.m. That's a matinee.
Okay.
The Texas two-step.
There you go. It's not a triangle, just a two-step.
Just the two-step, and then Blazers are headed back home on Tuesday for an absurdly late night game that we'll talk about on Sunday. But the Mavericks are a mess. And
Tire fire.
We talked about it last show because Nico had just been fired, but they had hoped that they got off to a better start than they did, and maybe Nico could have a stay of execution. If the team is winning, the other stuff doesn't matter as much. But if the team isn't winning and the guy you traded is one of the top scorers in the NBA, an MVP candidate, then it makes a difference. They lost tonight?
No, I was
They're
going to say,
about
what happens when a stoppable force meets a movable object? Because that's what you have tonight. The LA Clippers are 3-8. They are in double overtime.
Oh my gosh.
Against the 3-9 Dallas Mavericks.
Soften them up.
The Clippers are up 133-127. So
Wow.
James Harden 41 points right now. So
Yeah, he's having another good season.
Cooper Flagg 16 points, 5 rebounds, no assists though.
You got to get this one if you're Portland on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean,
This is when you got to get.
goodness gracious, Cooper Flagg has played 47
Coming home from a road
minutes.
trip 1-4 and your only win is over the Pelicans. It's a tough look.
Look, we talked about going into this trip, how easily this trip could be 2-3 or 3-2.
That's what you hope for.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how under Terry Stotts, the idea to win 50 games is you go 20-21 on the road, so you basically go 500 and you win 30 home games. 30 plus 20, that's 50 wins. If you're a good team, I shouldn't even say that. Great teams win 50 games.
Yeah, 30 home games is a lot.
It is. It means you're 30-11 at
Winning
home.
75% of your games at home.
It's a 74% at home, 48%
All right,
on the
easy
road.
math corrector.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, just doing like the. Come on, can't help it.
75%.
Whatever.
It would be a pretty tough blow for this team to come back
72.8.
1-4. Definitely. It would be tough if this team came back from this trip 1-4.
It would.
Because then you're below 500.
You're 6-7 coming home.
And then you're playing this weird Phoenix team that looks really live so far this
Booker's
season.
been great. Booker last year just
Your
did,
boy Dylan Brooks.
He did well. He had like a 30 piece. Like, where did that come from?
You always get so like your brain can't comprehend Dylan Brooks scoring like 25 plus
No,
points.
it doesn't. It does not compute. It does not make sense. There are very few players in NBA history who I enjoy watching less than Dylan Brooks. I'm absolutely blunt about that. I do not enjoy his particular brand of basketball. Never have, never will.
So Portland has this game. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Oh, that cost him $25,000. Right? Are we allowed to show this?
I mean, they showed it on the broadcast, so why not?
That was pretty athletic, Marang.
I mean, he's an NBA player. He's athletic.
He's an NBA player. He better be able to do that.
If he's not doing that. Look, man, all I'm saying is his own college fans at Oregon don't like him.
Is that right?
Oh, no, they don't. Yes, there we go.
Oh, producer Danny in our ear hates him. You might have actually heard him yelling from
out there. Yeah,
over yonder.
He is not a guy that is well-liked or beloved by the Duck faithful, but also by previous. Remember, this is a guy who in Memphis, like, he was kind of their talisman, but then he got a little too big for his britches and talked a little too much, and then got humbled.
Yeah. At the end of the day, your Blazers are 6-6.
They're 500. They're fine.
They're playing one of the stinkiest teams in the West on Sunday.
Of their 12 games, they've been in 11 of them.
This is the only one where they weren't in it.
Yeah.
This is the only one.
And they were in it for the half, and then the third quarter happened, and it was over.
I'm feeling great about these Blazers. Disappointing result tonight. Chance to get right on Sunday before they come back home. And they're still in the cup night. What is the San Antonio's winning. Root for Golden State tonight in the NBA Cup if you want to have a trip to Vegas.
Steph Curry's got 41 again.
Watch your Blazers play. He's 41 points.
Yeah, cooking.
Oh, my. Well, the Rockets had 140, and that was too many. The Blazers fall, but they got another chance. Coming up.